Supreme Court appears poised to strike down Trump's executive order that ends birthright citizenship for illegal aliens on the Fourth Amendment. I'm gonna be honest. If the Supreme Court strikes it down, we need a new Supreme Court. We do. Like, this is insane. Like, he should Andrew Jackson their ass. The idea that you can have two fucking illegals that come over and have a kid here, and that kid is defaulted into America, get the fuck out of here. Like, are you kidding me? That's a joke. Take the court? Yeah, exactly. Like, it's insane. Like, is this in the best interest of America? I don't fucking think so. Absolutely not. I'll read some of the stuff about it. But, yeah, I'm totally out on it. Because, again, like, if you have people, this is the issue, is that you have people that maliciously take advantage of positions of power, and then they use them to achieve political goals. They're not using the positions in the Supreme Court and looking at what the best thing for America is. They're not looking at what is the intention of the framers of the Constitution. They're not looking at what keeps the country safe. They're trying to use their political ideology and then force it into the law. That's what they're doing. And I don't think anybody should put up with this. Let's listen to this. Here we go. Ketanji Brown Jackson. Oh boy.
Okay, well, what do we do with, I mean, that's a debate, and it's a discussion, very valid, but then we have a subsequent debate between Fessenden and Wade, where the same concept comes up, and it becomes clear, at least from Senator Wade's perspective.
See, this is the problem. They're thinking about fucking precedent. Maybe you should make a decision that's unprecedented and say, you know what? It's a bad idea to have a bunch of illegals, an entire industry in China that's built around having kids and maliciously taking advantage of our laws. Maybe we should think about this in a direct way, rather than try to create all of these parallels and abstractions. Look at what's actually happening. People get their head in the fucking clouds, and they forget, and their feet aren't on the ground. That's what happens, is that they're not living in reality. They're not thinking about this in any sort of a meaningful way. They're talking about ideology. They're talking about legal precedent. What the fuck is any of that? These are ideas. They're not real. The reality is that you have a bunch of fucking people from not the Middle East, but partially from there too, but from South America and Asia. They're coming over here, spawning kids here, and then taking advantage of our systems. That's it. It's Congress's job, not the judicial. Well, it shouldn't happen. I don't care whose job it is. It shouldn't happen. And also, like, oh, that's somebody else's job. I'm sorry, but an argument to bureaucracy is not strong for me. I don't care about an argument to bureaucracy. Oh, but this is what the bureaucratic process says. Well, then change it. Change it, dumbass. If you have a system that works that way, then maybe it's a bad system.
That's wrong. So yeah. Fessenden, and I'm not sure whether these are senators, I apologize. Fessenden says, suppose a person is born here of parents from abroad temporarily in this country. Wade responds, the senator says a person may be born here and not be a citizen. I know that is so in one instance. In the case of the children of foreign ministers.
See, this is the type of stupid, like, intellectualism that is actually the lowest IQ version of any sort of discussion. This woman is trying to paraphrase and reframe a debate from the 1800s as a reason for why something should happen today. We're not talking about, like, the entire world, everybody that was alive is dead now. Everybody then is dead. All of probably their kids are dead. This is a new world. I don't want to hear about what the fuck they said back then. As this is some kind of an argument by using their vocabulary and then applying it to today. It's outrageous. Bro, please clarify, Anchor Baby's ban idea should be retroactive. If yes, what time range? I'd say at least 5 years. I'd retroactively remove them from 5 years ago. At least from the Biden era, right? I mean, because that was a huge problem. So, like, you don't want to have people that basically took advantage of Biden's open borders and then they had a kid here, right? 2020, maybe 25 years, 50 years. I mean, I'm open to debate about that, but I'd say at least 5, right? And I'd even be more willing to say, like, probably 18 and under, or at least, like, under 18s. But, and even if somebody said, no retroactive, just remove it, that I would be fine with that. I'd be happy with that.
Who reside near the United States.
Ask you what my opinion is.
Et cetera, et cetera. So it appears as though in that
True, but we're built on legal precedent, because we lose the Second Amendment to the left with the same argument. You lose the Second Amendment to the left. Well, no, absolutely not. You don't lose the Second Amendment to the left. Do you really think that the reason why we have the right to bear arms is purely because of the Second Amendment, or is it cultural? The reality is that there is a logical, rational, reasonable, intelligent justification for why somebody has a gun. That's the reason why. Like, you can easily, logically create a conclusion that says people, especially like a woman, for example, like if you're a 5'3" woman and you're 120 pounds, the probability that you can, overpower and stop a man that's 200 pounds and 6'1" is 0%. It is. It's 0%. It's not going to happen. Like, the man is going to win every single time, unless there's some sort of like crazy disparity. He's like 90 years old and he's blind. Overwhelmingly, the woman's going to lose. You need to have a gun. And so you can make a logical, rational argument for why people should be allowed to own guns. And you don't need the Second Amendment for that. Now, the Second Amendment makes it stronger and it creates a tradition for it, but you don't need that. The difference is that they need this precedent because there is no logical conclusion that can allow you to come to the argument that it's a good idea that 2 illegals should be able to come here and have a kid and that the kid's a citizen. There's no argument for that. Absolutely zero.
Change. At least Senator Wade believed that the English common law understanding of what it means.
There's also, look at somebody. Sorry, I paused again. I want to respond to one more. Look at the new Virginia gun laws. There's no precedent on infringement, so they're allowing themselves to infringe on gun laws. But there is a precedent on infringement. It's called the Second Amendment. So that's the entire argument you're making immediately falls apart by your own argument. You're saying that, well, we need the Second Amendment. We need to listen to precedent. And then you say that, well, looking in Virginia, they're not listening to there is no precedent. There is a precedent. It's called the Constitution. And so doesn't that prove that it doesn't matter? They don't give a fuck about this. They don't care about the rules. So to the extent that you're playing, again, I've said this before, if you're playing chess against somebody and they think that every single pawn that they have has the same movement rights as a queen, and you let their moves play out and you let that work, that person will beat you. That person's going to beat you every single time. Don't play on an uneven playing field. It's insane.
To have allegiance, to be a temporary person on the soil, was what was being adopted.
Yeah, that exchange strongly supports us. If you look at it in context, Senator Wade has introduced a version that says only birth on U.S. soil and doesn't have any allegiance or jurisdictional element to it. And so Senator Fessenden stands up and says, well, that can't be right because, obviously, what about the children of temporary visitors? It has this, it's another one of these statements that has this appeal to a background understanding that
He's right about this, is that the implication of that question is that it's not referring to people that are non-citizens. That is the implication of that follow-up question. Because why would you need to draw a distinction if that distinction was already understood? Well, you wouldn't need to do that. He's completely right about this. So, early version of ChatGPT did not cheat, but started cheat later on versions. Well, I don't know about that. And I just got timed out twice for highlighting my message twice. For highlighting my message twice, you're gonna get timed out again. Yeah, I don't like the fact that you're tagging me and you're complaining. I don't like that. Oh, bro, I don't like this guy. Yeah, we might have to ban him. I don't know about that. Second Amendment's useless anyway. The government's way too strong to overthrow if it was tyrannical. Well, that's not really what's going to happen. So this, I'm going to be honest, She is so fucking retarded. We need to find a way to get her taken off the Supreme Court. This is insane. Listen to this.
Okay, well,
rejected reliance on
what do we do with, I mean, that's a debate, and it's a discussion, very valid, but then we have a subsequent debate between Fessenden and Wade, where the same concept...
I was like, wait a minute, this sounds like the other one.
On being born in whatever country you're from. That's what everybody recognizes.
Yes.
But you also have local allegiance when you are on the soil of this other sovereign. And
what a stupid bitch. Did the people flying the planes into the Twin Towers on 9/11 have allegiance to America because they were on American soil? How can you be so fucking retarded? Do we have allegiance to Afghanistan whenever we're invading Afghanistan? This is, oh my God. We gotta get rid of her. Holy fuck.
And I was thinking, you know, I, a U.S. citizen, am visiting Japan.
Yeah.
And what it means...
I'm Japanese now.
...is that, you know, if I steal someone's wallet in Japan, the Japanese authorities can arrest me and prosecute me. It's allegiance, meaning can they control you as a matter of...
Allegiance is control? So, wait a minute. So, are the people that were held, are the prisoners of war from October 7th, are they allied with Hamas now? Oh my God. There's literally, like, is Johnny Somali allied with Korea? Is Vitali allied with the Philippines? Is, fucking, what's his name? Not Bolsonaro, the one, Maduro. Is Maduro allied with America now because he's in American jail? Like, this is the most retarded argument that you could ever make that is instantly disproven by just thinking for 3 seconds about this. How the fuck did she become a Supreme Court justice? Oh, we need, there's got to be a way to get rid of Supreme Court justices, right? We need to have some way, send her back to McDonald's. You need to go and retire. Can we just pay her her salary and you just go home and don't say anything ever again? Holy fuck, a DEI hire? I wouldn't be surprised. I can't find any other way to explain it. This is the most retarded, stupid argument that you could ever have. Oh my God. Wow. Remember, she wouldn't define a woman? We gotta get rid of her. We do. I don't know who we can get in. Like, I don't know who we can get in as a Supreme Court justice that's based enough. I really don't know. Fuck. Like, I'll go? Yeah. Ted Cruz? See, that would be my first guy, but the issue is that Ted Cruz is too close to Israel. That makes me uncomfortable. And he's also too much of a religious guy. I'm uncomfortable because of that. Some people are saying Clarence, so we get Clarence Thomas too. Okay. Okay, and then maybe we can get rid of somebody else and we can get Clarence Thomas 3. Okay. I like this. See, now we're going in the right direction.
Of law. I can also rely on them if my wallet is stolen to, under Japanese law, go and prosecute the person who has stolen it. So there's this relationship based on, even though I'm a temporary...
So a foreign terrorist that comes into the United States to blow up a building, he can rely on us to arrest him, and that means that he's allied with the United States. Oh my God.
Traveler. I'm just on vacation in Japan. I'm still locally owing allegiance in that sense. Is that the right way to think about it? And if so... No, it's not. Next question. So doesn't that explain why both temporary.
Isn't that the right way? And if so, doesn't that, okay, so you're basically talking past the premise. You're saying, well, is this the way to look at it? Well, let's assume it is. Well, let me build an entire ideology off of this.
Residents and
Entire
undocumented people would have that kind of quote-unquote allegiance just by virtue of being in the United States.
That's absolutely right, Justice Jackson. And
on being born in whatever country.
Deport, get them out, put them in jail. You gotta do something about this. This is crazy. Like, these people, they're co-opting the largest and most important court inside of America to push a basically radical takeover of the country. She's saying that any person that comes here is, in one way or another, by using a legal obfuscation and really just a brain-dead misunderstanding, that person now has allegiance to America. Oh my God. Charge him with treason? I know. I listen, guys. I want it. I want it, but it's not going to happen. At least not anytime soon. And we've got to wait. That's like 4 presidents from now. And that's a best case scenario. That's 4 presidents from now. She's equating criminal jurisdiction with sovereign jurisdiction. Well, again, it's not even about, like, people think about this in terms of like, oh, well, you look at these terminologies. No, it's simple. If you have people coming over here that are having kids and then they're defaulting their kid a citizenship, this is obviously a manipulation. It's obviously an abuse. And I think that everybody should realize this. Okay, let's listen to the next one. Here we go. Like, you guys know how I feel about this stuff, right? This is a big day for me, all right? This is a very big day for me. And I am so fucking, I'm so mad that this has not, this should be a 9-0 decision. It should be a 9-0 decision, and the only question would be, how retroactive should we make this? That should be the only point of contention at all.
Not subject to any foreign power is pretty straightforward. So let me give you these examples. A boy is born here to an Iranian father who has entered the country illegally. That boy is automatically an Iranian national at birth, and he has a duty to provide military service to the Iranian government. Is he not subject to any foreign power?
Not within the meaning of the 1866 Act, Justice.
1866 Act. See, these are people whose mind is consumed by a process and a bureaucracy rather than thinking about this rationally at all. There are so many people whose thinking process is completely defined by external variables. There is no actual internal evaluation that is occurring at all. Think about it for 3 seconds. Okay, so somebody has a kid here, and then the kid is legally obligated to help Iran, and then Iran says to blow up America. Okay, well, that sounds like it's a really bad idea. That sounds really bad. They're all in on it, man. It's about votes. It is. Yeah, and this is, again, what I'm saying, is that the reason why they're fighting so hard for this is because this is the main thing that if they lose this, they lose their, basically, their silver bullet to effectively flood the country with foreigners. Because this is the strategy that they use, is that they open the borders and then they allow people to come over and then have kids here. The kids get defaulted citizenship. Then they manipulate the public by saying, well, you can't separate families. Well, yeah, I think you're right. Let's send them all back. But let's say, again, so it's all built into this narrative. That's it. They want white to become a minority? They do. And I think that they want to build an anti-white racial coalition to achieve that goal. I think that's true. Like, think about the idea of birth tourism. If this is a video game, it would have been patched out decades ago. It's an obvious exploit. Everybody knows it.
Alito, and that's clear from Wong Kim Ark, and it's clear from the debates. What the framers meant by the phrase "not subject to any foreign power" was referring to—
I'm sure that Thomas Jefferson, when he was writing the Constitution, said, you know what I want? I want a Chinese woman to fly over here on an airplane and have a baby, and that baby is defaulted American citizenship. That's what Thomas Jefferson wanted. For sure, guys. Oh, yeah, definitely. It can't even speak fucking English. Holy fuck. This is unbelievable. That's all right. So somebody says, let me get straight. I'll pull you up. Do you think that the system we have is good? It's very simple. Do you think it's good or not? Bad take. 116 years changes nothing. Well, I feel like it does, by the way. And not only does it not change nothing, it changes everything. 160 years ago, everybody that was alive is dead now. That's it. They're all dead. We live in a completely different world. Let me hear it. What Jefferson meant, it's what leftists used for the Second Amendment. So, what do you think? Do you think Thomas Jefferson wanted a Chinese woman or two Mexicans to illegally cross the border and have a kid here and then have an anchor baby? Do you think that's what Thomas Jefferson wanted when he was framing the Constitution? Do you think that's what the Constitution was for? Just, I mean, do you think that or not? Hey, Terrence, if it takes 6 weeks? No. Founding fathers wanted us to have 50-round magazines. That's what leftists say. Yeah, but they didn't have computers either, so we're reframing it. So, like, I can make an argument for why you should be able to have a 50-round magazine. You can make... See, you're right, but the problem is that argument, I think, can also be made from a logical and a rational perspective as well. And also, the Founding Fathers never said anything about 50-round magazine, obviously. Or machine gun, yes, or a computer. Do you really think that the Constitution is the main reason why they're not able to do that? They're making laws against guns. An old law isn't bad because it's old. It's like a squatter's old. It's old and bad, but it's not bad because it's old. That's a good argument. I think I have to agree with you on that. I will. Like, I think that's a good point. But, like, and again, like, yeah, you bring up a good point there. You're right, is that something isn't bad categorically because it's old. And I think that by me saying that, I think that, like, definitely, yeah, I could see where you're coming from here. But I feel like very clearly the world has evolved in a way that, obviously, the way that people have kids here and they come over and have kids here is totally different than what happened back then. Answer your question? Yeah, and also, like, okay, let's get back. That's a good point, yeah. And, so what about, do you think Thomas Jefferson, so you don't mean a bad, so I don't mean you had a bad take, it was an example? No, it's fine, that's okay. Like, we'll move on, but, anyway, no, I think he's right about that. And, in this case, you have to call it outdated rather than just old. I think that's a great point, yeah. It's not old, it's outdated. It has been totally outdated, and I think that we need a new version of looking at it nowadays. Yeah, he's right. That's a good point that he's bringing up. It's a small nuance, but I think it's relevant.
The ambassador exception. If it meant what the government contends, basically not a subject of any foreign power,
yes,
that another country considers you a jus sanguinis citizen, then lawful permanent residents, all foreign nationals.
Well, ordinary public meaning of that would certainly encompass that boy, would it not?
Justice Alito, if you think that the language of the 1866 Act was ambiguous, as Wong Kim Ark says, the shift to the language of the 14th Amendment, which is the operative text, certainly clears up any ambiguity.
Well, what I said about a boy born to an Iranian father is true of children born here to parents who are nationals of other countries.
Yes.
If I'm correct, it's true to a child who's born here to Russian parents. It's true to a child who's born here to Mexican parents. They're automatically citizens or nationals of those countries and have a duty of military service. It sure seems like that's a that makes them subject to a foreign power.
But again, Justice Alito, that would have meant that the children...
3/5 vote is also outdated, so we changed it? Yeah, we've changed a lot of things in the Constitution.
...of Irish, Italian, and other immigrants.
This is another deliberate reframing and a deliberate misunderstanding. Whenever the Irish and Italian and the immigrants, like, why would we make a decision for what should happen now based off of what happened 150 years ago?
Which Wong Kim Ark refers to and the debate
Yes.
the framers refer to, would not have been citizens either. Because if the only test is whether that U.S.-born child...
Why would you make a decision on something that happened 150 years ago? This is retarded.
...is considered a citizen by another country under their jus sanguinis laws, then no foreign nationals' children would be...
Well, in all of those cases, the parents could be naturalized, and then the children would be derivatively nationalized.
You can't base decisions like that whenever we effectively had totally open borders and anybody could come to America. Like, it was a fundamentally different country back then.
Naturalized when the parents were naturalized.
Yeah. Why are foreigners allowed to change laws? Well, this is what's happened, is you have groups like the ACLU that have been taken over by effectively foreign influences and people seeking to subvert the United States, and they're trying to co-opt these different organizations so they can use them as vehicles for them to push their agenda. That's what's happening. The thing is, back then you needed mass immigration to grow the country, but now the country's populated, doesn't need it anymore. Well, the entire framing of this conversation is wrong. The idea that we should be basing our decisions around the way that we are interpreting something that was said 150 years ago is retarded. We should look at what the best option is right now. And our clip's going viral? Oh, let me see this one. I haven't seen this one yet. Where is it? Oh, God. Okay. And, of course, it doesn't work. What a surprise.
This turns on what...
All right. Talking about change this for 30 years and the Supreme Court has constantly been opposition. Truthfully, I don't know how it didn't happen after 9/11. 2011 was another big year trying to push it. Well, then I think they should just ignore the court. I do. I mean, they're obviously working against America's best interest. They are. Like, this is crazy. If they don't go through with this, Trump should just Andrew Jackson them.
Your view of this turns on what the status of the parents are, and not the child, as would the born in the United States view of it. Can you help us?
Wait, what? Let me listen to this again.
Your view of this turns on what the status of the parents are, and not the child, as would the born in the United States view of it. Can you help us understand why we wouldn't expect to see a mention of parents in the text of this amendment?
I think it was
Oh my God. Intentionally misunderstanding something written 150 years ago. This is, oh my fucking God. Literally a retard? I know. It is embarrassing. I have a question I think matters to this discussion. When the Constitution was written, did they have immigration issues like today? No, they didn't. It was a totally different country, completely different world. Of course not.
Understood that, for example, children cannot, newborns cannot form domicile. So it follows every 19th century.
That assumes domicile is in the test. And I'm asking you, how do we know that Congress did adopt the test that you say it adopted?
When you're looking at 19th century conceptions of allegiance, the notion that the allegiance, again, we say domicile is instantiating the concept of allegiance for aliens as opposed to citizen. All of that, the 19th century understands the newborn's domicile, its allegiance follows the allegiance of the parents. And I point out that their theory relies on parental allegiance as well, because they recognize the exceptions for, hostile invading armies, for tribal Indians, for ambassadors. Again, the child's allegiance status, even on their view.
It's obvious. It is. And you can't establish a legal permanent domicile somewhere where you're illegally present and subject to removal at any time. Yeah, it's insane, man. Woman through her example, single-handedly doing more to dismantle the tyranny of diversity hires of any other person in history. Thank you. That's probably true. Holy fuck, how can you be that incompetent? Wow. And yeah, this is crazy. It's a crazy, a person can achieve such a high, powerful position with such a low IQ and to push ill intent towards other fellow citizens. Well, it's because some people are afraid to call it out. I think that's the reason why. And that's the reason why I call it out. That's the reason why I say it. I find this to be profoundly offensive. It is profoundly offensive to me that this is even an open conversation. It is insane. And look at this here. And Trump administration must restore the legal status of potentially hundreds of thousands of immigrants who came to the United States legally through a Biden-era pathway, a federal judge ruled on Tuesday. No, he doesn't. Fuck that. Just don't do it. Bukele, listen to this. Bukele didn't save El Salvador because he arrested all the criminals. He saved it because he removed the judges. Communist judges are the sword and shield of the communist revolution here in America. Removing them is everything. Bro. There it is. That's it. Just like Napoleon. Just like Napoleon. And you have, the thing is that it's so obvious. It is so obvious. Ooh, here another one. Look at this.
This doorbell video shows the moment she's describing. You can hear the engine revving, then the car speed up significantly. We've stopped it before it hits Naomi.
The other two kids got out the street. Naomi wasn't quick enough through her little legs. She had eyes on her. She was not unattended. She did not run out in front of no car. That car just
Every day I read a story about a judge blocking common sense rules. Imagine how much better our country would be if every day you read a story about a judge being sent to go to jail inside of the same cell in the same prison that they sent a bunch of people to. Imagine how much better our country would be instantaneously.
She hit her like she was an animal and kept going until he probably got a phone call to say he hit that baby.
That's right.
Another neighbor didn't want to go on camera, but says she saw the whole thing from somewhere in the video you're watching now.
Look at that.
You gunned it down the street. You were on the
They
wrong
let this clown out on bond of $1,000.
side. This baby play out here every day, all day.
Yep.
You on the wrong side. You came over this side, hit the baby. You didn't stop. You kept going. You didn't remain on scene. They had to call you to tell you to come back.
So he killed the kid and he drove off.
It hurts because that's a child. She was only 8 years old.
Yep, and now
she
she
didn't have
dead.
to lose her life because of a reckless driver.
She lost her life because of a reckless judge, and that judge should be held accountable. In a just world, this judge would be tried as an accomplice for the murder. That's what would happen.
That could have been my niece. That could have been my little cousin. That could have been anybody.
Now, police say the driver of that Chrysler 300 was 23-year-old Khalil Burney. He is now charged
Take
with
away his license for driving. He doesn't know
driving
how to
while
drive.
license revoked. No liability.
They already tried that. It didn't work. Oh, wait. He didn't have liability insurance? Oh, wow.
Insurance, failure to register, and fictitious registration. In court today,
Oh, so he went and he put... Yeah,
a judge gave him a $1,000 unsecured bond.
So they gave him $1,000 bond. Was just let out of jail on $1,000 bond. We don't have to live like this, gentlemen. We don't. We don't have to live like this. This is crazy. This is insane that we put up with this shit. $1,000. This is way too low. It shouldn't be a bond. He went and he killed a kid driving around like a nutball when he shouldn't have even been driving. He should be lucky he's not getting harvested for his organs. That's what I think. It's outrageous. Why are we putting up with this? I'm waiting for someone to defend this. Yeah, there's nobody. And it's insane. Minimum 250K? Yeah. I mean, really, like, I don't understand this at all. They found another clip of that viral judge, Insane Ego. Which one? Oh, my God. Wait a minute. That same loser?
Okay. Those are the overlapping stories.
This is the same guy that crashed out on the IT worker.
between the stores outlined.
You're wasting my time this morning.
No, Judge. I mean, we have an overlapping issue in these two cases.
They don't seem to be that overlapping to me.
Well, we have the same parties.
You want to go to Jefferson County because you want Jefferson County jury.
No, I mean, Judge, we're the defendants in the case.
No.
We're they're the plaintiffs. We haven't filed either one of these cases. They filed this case
Lien
first.
abatement is denied.
Thank you, Your Honor.
We filed a proposed order, but I have one here if you want.
Take it.
Jeff, you want to briefly respond
You
about...
may not.
Well,
This hearing is done.
she's asking for a sanction.
Deputy, remove her from my bench now.
Your Honor, may I speak?
No, you may not. This hearing is over. Jesus Christ, these people today. Step away. You're about.
I'm gonna be real. If you crash out like this as a judge, you can't control your emotions. If you can't control your emotions, you shouldn't be able to control other people's fate. It's embarrassing. Like, it really, like, you're compromised. Yeah, you're compromised. Can't do it.
To be cuffed.
He wants to have her handcuffed? Jesus Christ. Holy fuck, he's high estrogen? I honestly, I mean, you just listen to the way he talks.
You're about to be cuffed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right. It's embarrassing that female judge can be calm with that psycho actually crashing out in front of her. Yeah, it's just embarrassing for me to see this. Can they appeal to a different judge? Why can he be the one indiscriminately? Yeah, why is he indiscriminately jailing the retards and it's not me? Yeah, it's not fair, guys. This is bullshit. And so I'll go and I'll show you. Here's another one. Here's another one of this happening. Here we go. Let's watch it.
I appreciate the legislature for passing this. But I will just say to my friends in the Florida House of Representatives, I don't think what you've done is enough. You have the power and you have sufficient numbers in your chamber to impeach this judge.
She released a child rapist while out on bail. He raped, tortured, and killed a 5-year-old little girl.
Tiffany Baker. Until you start holding these judges accountable, they are going to continue to find ways.
Disbarring them isn't enough. It's not enough. Simply losing their job and being dishonored is not enough. It's not even the bare minimum.
To benefit the criminal element. This was an outrage. This was such an easy call to make sure that this guy was put behind bars.
Yeah.
And this judge refused to do it, knowing the risks. And the result has obviously been a tragedy. So, Florida Constitution.
We need to go Old Testament with these people. We do. We got to Old Testament these people. Like, they got to go and, like, bring in the military and just simply arrest them. Like, this is crazy. Like, you have them there literally letting out child molesters. Like, the entire idea, like, because the problem is that people think that you shouldn't do that because, oh, well, that's breaking the rules. They're breaking the rules. How the fuck are you supposed to deal with this with people that are controlling the rules that don't use them? How do you deal with this? How do you can't deal with that? Like, there's no way you can get around this. It's an abuse of power. It is.
Invests the House of Representatives with the ability to bring.
What's the alternative? Because if they're liable, they won't release anyone else, not even good people. Do you really think that there's no gray area between releasing a child molester and releasing somebody who's a shoplifter from 7-Eleven? Do you really think that there's no nuance there? Like, really?
Impeachment against a circuit judge with 2/3 majority. You know, last time I checked, we've got way more than 2/3 of Republicans.
We need light Yagami on these people. I told y'all, like, it is a mercy to the world that, because Death Note came out in 2006. I was 16 in 2006. If I had watched Death Note when I was in high school, I know you might have thought it would be impossible for this to be the case, but I can guarantee you that I would somehow be even more insufferable than I was then. I would have been even worse. Because even now, I watched Death Note. I agreed with everything Light did. I did. I completely agree. He's totally right.
I think some Democrats would vote to impeach, given what happened in this case.
Mm-hmm. So, like, if it was back then, oh my God, yeah. And wow, really? Of course. I love Light, yeah, 100%. Like, this whole bullshit, like, oh, well, you know, he doesn't have a right to do that. Oh, you know, if he does it, it happened. And so we have even one more. Look at this. Disgraced Minnesota judge just gave a 6-month sentence to another Somali fraudster who stole millions.
Ms. Jama, do you have any comment?
Judge Nancy Brazel said that Zamzam Jama was one of the least culpable...
Zamzam, what is this? Like, that's like sounds like a convenience store.
Was one of the least said that Zamzam Jama was one of the least culpable defendants, and she doesn't think that she'll see Jama back in federal court for another crime.
Ms. Jama,
that's crazy. Wow. And yeah, from Star Wars. Yeah, it's from Star Wars or something like that. And judges are bought and paid for. Well, I think that what happens is that it does look like an AI version of her. So the judges, I think, in some cases are they're doing it for a political reason, and like they're being paid. I don't think most of them are being paid. I think that they just simply do it because they think it's the right thing to do. And John Roberts said, it's a new world, but it's the same Constitution. Then why do you think that they let you do amendments for it? Like, this is really? Are you kidding me? Response to John Sauer saying 6 billion people are a plane ride away from coming here. Holy fucking shit, dude. This is insane. Oh my God, it makes me so mad. Luigi crashed out on a health CEO for less than that, health insurance CEO for less than that. Listen. Anyway, let me go back. Oh, look at this.
Okay, and let's talk about its applications. So, there are some, I can imagine it being messy in some applications. So what would you do with what the common law called foundlings? The thing about this is then you have to adjudicate if you're looking at parents, and if you're looking at parents' domicile, then you have to adjudicate both residence and intent to stay. What if you don't know who the parents are?
I think there are marginal cases. That one, I think.
You don't give them citizenship till you find out. Duh. Like, obviously, like, what the fuck do you mean? Like, I mean, it's like, oh yeah, oh well, what if you don't know? Okay, well then say to be determined. Fucking duh. Like, obviously.
Has the benefit of being addressed in 1401F, where it talks about.
Yeah. But what about the Constitution?
Under the Constitution, it's I mean, look, domicile is a constitutional standard in all kinds of other situations.
Well, and it's hard.
Diversity, jurisdiction, personal jurisdiction, sorry.
Well, yeah, and personal jurisdiction, 1332, diversity jurisdiction. And the thing is, it has to be litigated because it turns on intent. And both...
If their intent was to come into this country illegally, they shouldn't be rewarded by their kid being a fucking citizen. If their intent is to come here to have a kid, to default the kid's citizenship, then that is a bad, malicious intent, and it should not be rewarded. These people are so consumed with the idea of processes that they've lost any sense of ethical accountability. They've lost every sense of rational conclusion drawing. This is insane. I'm so mad. I'm actually so mad about this.
The virtue of both jus soli and jus sanguinis, whichever one you pick, it's a bright line rule. How would it work? How would you adjudicate these cases? You're not going to know at the time of birth for some people whether they have the intent to stay or not, including...
It doesn't matter if they have the intent to stay, you fucking retard. No, there's no the intent to stay. Like, are they citizens or not? They're not citizens, and they shouldn't have a kid here that's a fucking citizen. Like, are you retarded? It's unbelievable. Oh my God. How is this even a question? Oh, what their intent is. Holy fuck. Like, what? This bureaucracy is so fucking annoying. It drives me crazy. Oh my God. Fuck.
Including U.S. citizens, by the way. I mean, what if you have someone who is living in Norway with, their husband and family, but is still a U.S. citizen, comes home and has her child here and goes back?
Well, then the kid would be a citizen because she's a citizen. Like, what? Well, okay, so you have a shoplifting law, but what if somebody... Okay, get this. Okay, but what if somebody buys something, but then they forget to take their bag out of the store? And then they come back in and they say, I forgot to get my bag that I paid for. And then they take it out. Are they shoplifting? You're missing the point? Okay. All right. You're going to get pulled up. You're going to get pulled up. What's the point? Because I want to hear arguments for this. Because everything that I've heard about this is so retarded that it's astonishing that it even exists. Holy fuck. What's the point? Zach's extra edgy today? I am. I'm so mad. I've been waiting on this for my whole life, and they're messing it up. Drives me crazy. She's just posing multiple angles to the argument to see the answers? Well, I mean, the answer is obvious, right? I mean, if somebody's a U.S. citizen that has a kid in America, but they're also in Norway, the kid would obviously be a U.S. citizen. Like, there's not even a question about that. Like, how's that even a question? It's obvious. Everybody knows that. Duh. Of course.
How do we know whether the child is a U.S. citizen because the parent didn't have an intent to stay?
I'd say
the intent to stay is irrelevant.
2 points, one practical,
argument.
one legal. The practical point is under the terms of this executive order, you don't have to because the executive order turns on objectively verifiable things, which is immigration status. Are you lawfully present but temporarily present, or do you have an illegal status? So those kind of like, taking evidence, so to speak, under subjective intent wouldn't be done. And as to the constitutional point, obviously domicile is baked into a lot of constitutional and legal concepts, and there may be situations where facts are determined, but if you look at the guidance...
Oh, God, bro, what are you doing, bro? Was RFK not enough? Now you have to bring in 2 people with 5% HP? Number 1. Number 2. What the fuck are we talking about? What are we doing?
The guidance that all the agencies did after this court in Costa said the agency could go forward to issue guidance. The guidance provides, I think, very, very clear, objective...
Why is intent to stay a stupid argument? If they aren't staying in the USA, they shouldn't get citizenship? No. Because even if they want to stay in the United States, they shouldn't get citizenship if they're not citizens. Duh. So so you're telling me that because 2 illegals come here and they say, I want to stay here. No shit you want to stay here. You came from Guatemala. I would too if I were you. I get it. So, yes, obviously that's the case. It doesn't matter.
Verifiable approaches to doing this. And so as a practical matter, I don't think it's presented by this executive order.
Thank you, General.
Justice Jackson?
Mm-hmm. Holy fuck, man. Holy fuck, this is insane. And they don't get to skip the immigration line just because you had a kid? Yeah, exactly. What if it's a U.S. citizen and illegal? Then it's a U.S. citizen. If one of the parents is a U.S. citizen, then the kid should be a U.S. citizen. If both of the parents are U.S. citizens, then the kid should be a U.S. citizen. If neither of the parents are U.S. citizens, then the kid should not be a citizen. It's obvious. Yeah, of course. Like, that's fair. Yeah, obviously. Oh, my God. And let me go. I'll see if I find this here. And where is it? Oh, no, I already saw this before. That was so retarded. It's unbelievable. Okay, let's listen to this.
Based on Chinese media reports, there are 500 500 birth tourism companies in the People's Republic of China whose business is to bring people here to give birth and return to that nation.
Imagine thinking it's a good idea that you have a system that has spawned an entire Chinese industry of people that are flying to your country in bad faith to spawn their kids with citizenship. Like it's obviously there's something wrong with that. Obviously there's something wrong. Like, how can anybody not see there's something wrong with that?
Having said all that, you do agree that that has no impact on the legal analysis before us?
I don't give a fuck about that. Why the fuck would I care about that? Why the fuck? So let me get this straight. Because you can misinterpret something that was written 150 years ago, that means that we're not allowed to have a country. Get the fuck out of here. This is such a ridiculous argument. It's insane. I am so fucking sick of this bureaucratic, completely sterile, brain-dead, disconnected, pseudo-intellectual bullshit that these people keep trying to push when the reality is it's happening. It's actually happening in real life right now. I don't care about what your ideological reasoning is for this, or what, this is what a book said that was written 80 years ago. It's outdated. It's gone. Like, everybody that was around then is dead. It's a completely different world. Most politicians are retards, man. Most people are retards. That's it. Makes me so fucking mad, man. Makes me so fucking mad. Oh, well, just because there's an obvious exploit, and the fact that this obvious exploit exists, like, does it oh my god, bro, like, it's actually crazy how mad I am. It's crazy how mad I am. All right.
I think it's, I quote what Justice Scalia said in his Hamdan dissent, where their interpretation has these implications that could not possibly have been approved by the 19th century framers of this amendment. I think that shows that they've made a mess. Their interpretation has made a mess of the provision.
Well, it certainly wasn't
you fucked up.
Problem in the 19th century.
Yeah, it wasn't a problem. Oh, wow. Well, wait a minute. It wasn't a problem in the 19th century. Thank God. Yeah, probably back then he was in college. That old fucking, another old geriatric retard is going to dictate to us why the fuck, oh, wait a minute. Well, if you look at what happened in 1885, that means you're not allowed to have a country anymore. Holy shit.
Provision.
Well, it certainly wasn't a problem in the 19th century.
No, but of course,
neither were fucking computers.
We're in a new world now, as Justice Alito pointed out.
We're in a new world, yes.
Where 8 billion people are one plane ride away from having a child who's a U.S. citizen.
Well, it's a new world. It's the same Constitution.
It is, and
this stupid old man is ruining our country. It's amazing. It's the same Constitution. Number one, that's like foundationally, definitionally, that's wrong. The Constitution is constantly reinterpreted. If you didn't need reinterpretations of the Constitution, why the fuck do we have the Supreme Court? Number one. Number two, the Constitution was written for amendments. You've got to remember the 14th Amendment wasn't written until everybody that wrote the Constitution was dead when the 14th Amendment was written. It was 100 years after the Constitution was written. I can't believe this. I'm so fucking mad.
As Justice Scalia said, I think in the case that Justice Alito was referring to, you've got a constitutional provision that addresses certain evils, and it should be extended to reasonably comparable evils. He said that about statutory interpretation. I think the same principle applies here, and I think we quote that in our brief.
Thank you. Justice Thomas, anything further?
Unbelievable to me. Absolutely fucking unbelievable that anybody is putting up with this. Okay, here's another one. All right.
not subject to any foreign power.
Oh, we saw this one. Never mind. I already saw that before. Let me go back and see if I can find any more of these two. But yeah, I am extremely opinionated about this. I am very, very upset about this. The Constitution says that a woman didn't have rights when the Constitution was written. It didn't have women in it. Should we get rid of women's rights? Yeah, exactly. Like, the idea that because the Constitution says this means that it's a good thing and this is what the rules should be is insane. And also, you can just reinterpret it in a different way. I mean, obviously. Am I wrong that the amendments expand the subject and doesn't narrow them? Well, I don't know what you mean by that. Depends on what you mean by expanding and what does that mean. Second Amendment says stay the same even though the guns keep changing. Listen, like, here's the thing is that there's obviously a very big difference between somebody being able to, you know, buy a fucking aircraft carrier versus being able to have a gun for home defense, right? I mean, everybody can see and understand that. But this is, again, what I was saying about the deliberate misunderstandings, the deliberate, intentional, repeated misunderstandings. And, oh, here we go. Let's take a look at this.
Let's start here with some examples of some of the types of individuals we could be talking about, like Juan Carlos Valencia Gonzalez. Now, Juan Carlos Valencia Gonzalez was born in Santa Ana, California in 1984. His parents were from Mexico. He happens to also be the stepson of El Mencho, the leader of the Jalisco New Generation cartel. And now he is reportedly leading that very same cartel. And here's the thing.
Not good.
He is a United States citizen by birth. And it doesn't stop there. Reports of foreign wealth being used to manipulate the system. One Chinese billionaire reportedly has more than 100 U.S.-born children through surrogacy. The idea, build a future family and a business succession plan. Some clients, by the way.
How do you not see this and think it's an exploit? How do you not see? Really? Like, what the fuck are we doing? Can you believe this? It sounds like an exploit. Like, look at this. It's insane.
Request up to 100 babies via multiple surrogacies. It can cost as much as $200,000. And why would they do that? Because babies born here are automatically U.S. citizens.
That's right.
Also,
if I was Chinese, I'd do it. I'd do it. Like, if I was Chinese and, like, you know, my wife was going to have a kid and I could fly her to America and then have the kid in America, I'd do it. It's a good idea. It's a great idea. ABC, right? Yep, ABC. Always be cheating. It's a phenomenal idea. Who wouldn't?
Surrogacy is illegal in China. Nearly 41% of international surrogate parents in the United States are Chinese.
Another coincidence, I'm sure. To be fair, the El Mencho stepson is American. Well, look, if his parents are American, like, I mean, again, we have plenty of criminals here. Like, I think that argument is weak, too, by the way. I do. I think if his parents were American citizens, then, you know, him being like, look, I mean, yeah, he's the guy's son or whatever. Like, that's what happens. Like, just because your dad's an asshole doesn't mean it's your fault.
So, why is this such a debate? Look around the world.
It's a debate because they want to overrun the country with foreigners and then replace people and then vote for racial solidarity. That's the reason why it's a debate. That's the reason why they're doing it. That's why they're pushing it.
Much of Europe has restricted birthright citizenship. Asia basically ended it. The United States, still one of the...
So wait a minute. China, it's restricted, but over here it's not? Those motherfuckers. So those fuckers come over here and they do this to us, but we can't do that over there. Yeah, you know why? Maybe because they realized it was a problem. That's crazy.
Few countries around the world that sits as an outlier.
Yep. So South Africa, Sweden, Finland, the UK, Ireland, Belgium, Germany, Spain, Australia, Oh my God. Makes me so fucking mad for me to see this, man. It really does. And I don't even know what to say. It's just so outrageous, ridiculous, unfair. And look at this here. Illegal immigrant who attacks someone in Japan gets deported. I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back. Immigration officer, it doesn't matter. We're taking you. You're lucky we even have a plane. We're taking you no matter what. Man. Man. This is how it should be done? You're goddamn right. It definitely is how it should be done. Just send it back on a raft. Yeah. Do you agree if the Supreme Court can't recognize surrogate birthright citizenship being an exploit, it shouldn't be? Yeah. I think that if the Supreme Court is not able to, because the Supreme Court, like fundamentally, every piece of government should be working in the best interest of American citizens. Like, and this is downstream from the Constitution, it's downstream from legal precedent, it's downstream from taxes, it's downstream from everything. On a very, very fundamental level, every piece of the government should be working in the best interest of the American citizen. Is that in the best interest of the American citizen? Obviously not. Obviously it is not. So no, I don't think they should listen to it. Absolutely not. Going into coalitions of tribes conspired to deport each other. Well, they're already, literally, how does this benefit us? Yeah, it doesn't. Like, there's no benefit to the American, there is no benefit to the American citizen and the American family that a Chinese billionaire or, anybody from South America can, basically maliciously break into our country, have a kid, and default that kid's citizenship. And then that kid has a bunch of privileges. The justices are not taking the survival of the nation seriously. I just hope that Trump is. And after watching a majority of justices cast doubt on the constitutionality of his bid to end birthright citizenship for 90 minutes, Trump has left the Supreme Court. He posted, what did he say? He posted on Truth Social afterwards, we are the only country in the world to allow, stupid enough to allow birthright citizenship. Well, the thing is, just Andrew Jackson them. That's what I think you should do. I do. I think you should just openly ignore the Supreme Court. If they're not going to uphold this and they're going to say that it's more important for us to give birthright citizenship to illegal aliens, that is insane to me. Absolutely fucking crazy. And I hope somebody actually does something about that. He's mad. I'm very, I think anybody should be mad about this, honestly. I think they should be. And, yeah. And Biden ignored them, so why shouldn't Trump? I mean, I don't know what Biden did at all. It doesn't matter what Biden did. Like, I'd say do this anyway. I have no, that means nothing to me. What somebody else did is totally irrelevant. The fact is that, if you have these people that are saying that, well, because of this rule, that means that we're not able to do anything about it. I mean, I don't know what you can even say. And anyway, let me go out. I will look at there's a video about this. We'll watch it. Can you explain on Andrew Jackson for the non-Americans here? So Andrew Jackson historically ignored the Supreme Court and said that, well, they don't have the military, so they can't tell me what to do. And I think that's what Trump should do. I think that we have allowed basically a bureaucratic takeover of the country. We've allowed a massive takeover of the country by these people, and you have people that have taken their positions inside of the judicial branch, and what they've done is that they effectively don't uphold the law. They don't enforce the law. They don't hold people accountable. They don't do what they should be doing, and I think the reason why is because they're doing it off of ideological grounds. They're taking their position, they're weaponizing their position for an ideological reason, and they're effectively misrepresenting the rules. So really, I mean, that's what I think the main problem is. Is this the same Andrew Jackson responsible for the Trail of Tears? Yes, that would be him. Correct. And anyway, so the recruitment numbers show he has the military support? Yeah, absolutely. And an American journalist got kidnapped in Iraq by the Islamic regime? Well, yeah, I mean, that's what happens. You go to Iraq. I mean, it's fucking Iraq, man. What do you expect? So you think Trump appointed Supreme Court justices acting on ideological reasons to make this decision? Well, if he did, he didn't do a very good job, did he? So I wish he had. And birthright citizenship is just a scam out of the systems. How the fuck is this even an issue? Don't we have majority conservatives in the Supreme Court? Well, some of them care more about doing what they think is the rules rather than doing what they think is right. And I think that's the main issue, is that they're more focused around a bureaucratic procedure rather than the actual best interest of the country. And that's the main problem that I have.
To our other top story, in just a few hours, President Trump literally, physically headed to the Supreme Court, where oral arguments will be held over his push to end birthright citizenship for children of illegal migrants and temporary visitors to the U.S.
You're going to go to the Supreme Court tomorrow.
I do believe.
And just sit there and listen.
Because I have listened to this argument for so long.
Yep.
And this is not about Chinese billionaires or billionaires from other countries who all of a sudden have 75 children or 59 children in one case or 10 children becoming American citizens.
Joining me now, constitutional law attorney Mark Smith. And Mark, obviously, I want to focus on the law throughout the segment, but we have to talk about this. What do you make of President Trump being the first president, based upon all of our research, to ever attend an argument at the Supreme Court?
Yeah. That's a lot.
It's a great idea. Look, he is the party. And if you're a party, you're totally entitled to go to court and observe the proceedings. So I think President Trump should attend today. He is the party here. He is the one that created this lawsuit, and thank God he did. It was his executive order that finally got this issue of birthright citizenship before the court, because as you know, Todd, the reality was up until now there was nobody had standing to challenge this absurdity of basically anyone that comes to the United States and has a kid, they become an automatic American citizen. You could not challenge that because no one had standing to do so until President Trump wisely did this executive order. So he should attend this argument because he's the one that caused it.
Let's drill down into
I think this has been going on for as long as I've been alive. I mean, as soon as I realized that you could do this, I was like, well, what the fuck? This seems like it's totally unfair.
Law. This case is challenging a long-held interpretation of the 14th Amendment, with Section 1 of the amendment reading, quote, all persons born or naturalized in the United States, and this is the key part right here, and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. How should the court ultimately rule on that question? We had it underlined on the screen, jurisdiction thereof.
Well, the phrase subject to the jurisdiction thereof is a clear historical meaning. Remember, after the Civil War, the whole goal was to make sure slaves and their children were made American citizens.
Exactly.
That was originally done by a congressional statute, Todd, the Civil Rights Act of 1866, but there was concerns that a statute would not be sufficient to last the rest of the country's history. So the decision was made to create the 14th Amendment. And the reason why that's significant is when you read the Civil Rights Act of 1866, it literally says to be an American citizen, you have to be born in the United States and also not subject to any foreign power. That language was essentially elevated into the Constitution in the form of the 14th Amendment. So today, if you're simply visiting the United States, if you sneak into the country as
then you're subject to foreign power because you're from another country.
Alien and have a child, you are still subject to a foreign power, meaning your home country. So therefore, under the 14th Amendment, you're not subject to the jurisdiction thereof, and you haven't met the criteria to be a citizen. And that's a pretty straightforward argument. But of course, there's a vested interest on the other side to say that anyone born in the United States is an American citizen. And the only reason why that interpretation has lasted as long as it has is because, as you know, there's been no ability to challenge this in court because the only people withstanding are people that benefited from this wrong interpretation of the law.
Exactly. The reason why it's been allowed to continue is because people benefit from it. That's exactly it. It's crazy that we've allowed this to happen for as long as it has.
Everyone else had no standing until this executive order by President Trump.
I'm going to push back slightly. You said it's the other side, Democrats specifically, and you're 100% right on that. But I would also argue Republicans have not been as enthusiastic, let's say, as
the Republicans are. I mean, honestly, we might as well just get cosplayers. Why don't we just hire some Instagram girls to be the Republicans in the Senate and Congress? Because I think they do a better job. Like, these people have they have these pretend principles, but their principles are defined by the optics that are created by their enemies. It's pathetic. It's so pathetic.
you are that this is going to be a win for their side.
No, I hate
the prevailing wisdom, as you well know, is that this court is going to keep birthright citizenship in place. So with that as the baseline, what questions do you expect these justices to ask at oral arguments today? Who are you paying attention to? And ultimately, what does your gut tell you as to how
Republicans do nothing when they have power? They sit on their asses. Can you imagine what it would have been like if after Donald Trump took office, he actually did things? Like, because you remember that first, 2 weeks was crazy. Like, he got rid of all the DEI. He shut down USAID. They were going through everybody's stuff. Like, can you imagine that? That would have been crazy. Like, he did all right. But, man, bro, I think he's fallen off. Like, he's been so focused on these international issues.
Will rule when they rule in a few months.
Well, this court is very much an originalist court. And what that means, as you know, Todd, as an attorney yourself, is you look at the text of the relevant law, this is the 14th Amendment, and you look at the surrounding history. Keep in mind there is...
I'm sure, and this is what's so crazy to me. Do you really think that Thomas Jefferson would see, if you could teleport Thomas Jefferson to America today, or George Washington, or Alexander Hamilton, or anybody else in the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, if you could teleport any of them and have them watch a Chinese billionaire have 100 kids here and default those kids citizenship, and then have 1 million fucking South Americans, not 1 million, millions of South Americans coming across the border, having kids so the kids can be fucking citizens here and get benefits and then vote based off of that, do you really think that they'd be like, oh yeah, that sounds great? Oh yeah. Yeah, that's exactly, that's what we were, this is what we were hoping for. Of course not. Obviously not.
Already in a group of people that were born in the United States at the time of the 14th Amendment, but were not made citizens because they were subject to a foreign power. And that was the Native American population. The Native American population was born in the United States in the late 19th century at the time of the 14th Amendment, but they were not American citizens. Why? Because they were subject to a foreign power in the form of their tribes. So there's clear historical evidence here in addition to the text as to what it means. And again, because this is an originalist court that focuses on the text and the history at the time a law was enacted, that's where they're going to be focusing on.
The entire framing of this problem is completely wrong. The framing that should matter should be, is this good for the country? And if it's not, and the amendment allows that, then you should reevaluate the way that it's interpreted. Like, you can interpret something in 50 different ways.
What was the understanding of
obviously
Congress
not.
and the people that ratified the 14th Amendment in the year of our Lord, 1868?
I am not a Supreme Court justice
1868.
Yet, but I think your argument really did sell
Yeah,
me.
I really wonder whether the people in 1868 wanted a bunch of Mexicans and Chinese to come over to America and spawn in infinity anchor babies. Yeah, I really wonder if that's what they were waiting for. Oh, geez, guys, it's a fucking mystery.
Yeah, but the people that are also had a major ruling yesterday. The state of Colorado cannot enforce its conversion therapy ban with Colorado people that live there because it violates the First Amendment. Specifically, how vital is this ruling? An 8-1 ruling. You got a couple of very, very liberal justices to buy in. How vital is this ruling to preserve free speech protections, which, as you well know,
conversion
have been under attack
therapy
so much in recent years? About 30 seconds to you, Mark.
Well, this is a very important ruling because Colorado basically said that therapists that do talk therapy are allowed to encourage someone to convert to a different gender, but they were not allowed to encourage someone to remain the gender that they currently were born into, let's say.
Wait, so they are allowed to encourage you to change your gender, but not to keep your gender? Oh.
This is a very big deal because if you allowed Colorado to define the ability to define what you're allowed to say, because you have a professional license of any sort, that would have eviscerated the First Amendment.
Sounds like
for
devil talk.
anyone, of course, that has some sort of professional license granted to the state. It would be a condition of getting that license to basically toe the politically correct line. And the Supreme Court says, no can do. We're not going to let that happen. That would violate
It's called
the
egg
First
cracking.
Amendment.
Yeah, I think it's so important.
Yeah, isn't it crazy that they've decided to they have a euphemism for grooming. It's called cracking the egg. It's crazy.
View this case not
does
through the
that?
lens of conversion
Well, we do know.
therapy,
We know who does
but
that.
really through the lens of what it means for the First Amendment. This is
I don't
huge.
really care about this, to be honest. Let me go back. I'll see if there's any more of this. I'll watch one more of this. So I can't tell you that you're a boy, but let me tell you about chopping off your wang and folding it inside and go dress shopping. Yeah, that's exactly it. And I'll watch this too because it's just insane. World War II internment camps. Oh my fucking God, bro. Like, this is just, it drives me fucking crazy.
I'm sorry, Justice Barrett.
So I have a question about the exceptions again. So in your interchange with Justice Kavanaugh just now, you were talking about it as a closed set of exceptions. And said that way, it sounds like exceptions that people had in mind at the time of the ratification, but that were not explicit in the amendment. But I took your brief to be arguing that subject to the jurisdiction thereof is the language in the 14th Amendment that refers to those exceptions. Am I right?
That's right.
Okay.
It describes them.
It describes them. And would you say, this goes back to a question that Justice Gorsuch asked General Sauer, our relationship to the Indian tribes is different today than it was at the time that the 14th Amendment was ratified. Let's put aside Section 1401. Is a tribal Indian born on a reservation today, on tribal land, a natural-born citizen under the 14th Amendment?
Under the 14th Amendment, no. Of course, Congress has provided for citizenship for all tribal members in the...
This is it's another intentional misunderstanding. It's an intentional, like, it's got nothing to do with Indians. It's got nothing to do with Native Americans. This is not, like, it's not the point.
By statute. And so
this is semantics. It's all semantics.
As what subject to the jurisdiction of meant when you say
oh
closed
my
set of
fucking God.
exceptions, it means that the jurisdiction as it existed at the time of the 14th Amendment is still the jurisdiction today. So let me just be a little bit clear. You know, Justice Kavanaugh asked you if we could create new categories by analogy. So there may be other sorts of people who were present here to whom this subject to the jurisdiction in the same way that we were talking about, you know, the bubbles around ambassadors or the...
Oh my God. This topic's killing me. I am losing my fucking mind having to listen to this bullshit. It makes me so mad having to listen to anything else about this. I am so insanely fucking upset about this. It is just fucking infuriating that there is this massive entire bureaucratic machine that's made to intentionally misunderstand, misinterpret, and do everything in a way that is like this weird bureaucratic abstraction of what reality is. It is insane. Is it an April Fool's today? It sure seems like it, I'll tell you that. And anyway, let me go back over. I'll look at this. Is skeptical because it would be messy? Okay, here's one more. I don't think we haven't seen this one yet, have we?
Okay, and let's talk about its applications. So, you know, there are some, I can imagine it being messy in some applications. So what would you do with what the common law called foundlings?
We already did see this. Never mind. I already saw it before. And let me go and see if there's any more of these that are worth looking at. And why no stream yesterday? So why I didn't stream yesterday? It's actually very simple. It's because I didn't really feel like it. That's the reason why. Yep. That's it. I didn't really feel like it. And I want to take the day off. I was tired.
Justice Kavanaugh?
General, how should we think about the text of the 14th Amendment, subject to the jurisdiction thereof, as distinct from the different language of the Civil Rights Act of 1866, which refers as you know, to persons not subject to any foreign power.
Oh, bro, like, is this... Oh, man. Wait a second. Wait, oh, fuck, it's not the video. God damn it. Let me see if I can find the video for this. Go back up a little? Okay, relax, guys. And, yeah, let me see if I can find it. And, saw your video. It was good. Thank you. Yeah, and I did record a video, to be fair. And, you know... And watching Shuanhead today, I was going to. I just don't know necessarily when I'm going to. But yeah, at some point I will. And I was playing Crimson Desert all day? No, there's no way I would do that. And let me go and see if I can find the rest of this here. And maybe this is it. And I can see if there's any more links to this. Because I do, as I said, I do care a lot about this. I find it to be extremely fucking frustrating for me to look at. But unfortunately, oh, here we go. All right, let's. This will be the last one, probably.
So, I guess I am looking at your position in this case, and it boils down to requiring us to do at least these two things. One is believe that the framers were not importing the common law rule and understanding of birthright citizenship. And the second is to believe that what they were doing was departing from that common law rule in the way that you suggest. That is, they were seeking to have this turn on domicile. I think you have a number of hurdles to accomplish those two things. One of which, I think, is that when we look at this court's case law, and no one, I think, has mentioned Schooner's Exchange, but it appears that that was an 1812 case in which it seems as though the court had already accepted.
It's 50 years before the amendment.
At the time of the ratification of the 14th Amendment, that the allegiance that you were talking about was the English common law rule. That, in other words, allegiance meant that you are covered by the laws of the jurisdiction, that you can rely on that jurisdiction's protection. That's what allegiance meant. Now, you're saying today, no, allegiance meant something about loyalty or that kind of idea. But if the Supreme...
Under what reasoning do you think that, like, it's insane? This is the do American soldiers, like, I don't if you invade another country, do you have allegiance to them because you're in that country? No.
The Supreme Court had, prior to the 14th Amendment, established that allegiance meant the common law definition.
Drives me crazy.
I think your first hurdle is to help us understand why we would believe that when the 14th Amendment was ratified, the framers weren't just incorporating what we had previously said it meant.
Page 572 of the congressional record directly addresses this. They say the concept of temporary and local allegiance from the Schooner Exchange is what is meant by, or temporary and local jurisdiction from the Schooner Exchange is what is meant by the word jurisdiction in the 14th Amendment. Senator Trumbull says, I thought about saying owing allegiance, but again, quote, there's a sort of allegiance from persons temporarily resident in the United States whom we have no right to make citizens. So he expressly and consciously rejected reliance on Schooner.
What do we do with, I mean, that's a debate, and it's a discussion, very valid, but then we have a subsequent debate between Fessenden and Wade, where the same concept comes up, and it becomes clear, at least from Senator Wade's perspective, that that's wrong. So Fessenden, and I'm not sure whether these are senators, I apologize. Fessenden says, suppose a person is born here of parents from abroad temporarily in this country. Wade responds, the senator says a person may be born here and not be a citizen. I know that is so in one instance, in the case of the children of foreign ministers who reside near the United States, et cetera, et cetera. So it appears as though in that exchange, at least Senator Wade believed that the English common law understanding of what it means to have allegiance, to be a temporary
Grasping at
person on
straws?
the soil.
Isn't it insane?
Was what was being adopted.
Yeah, that exchange strongly supports us. If you look at it in context, Senator Wade has introduced a version that says only birth on U.S. soil and doesn't have any allegiance or jurisdictional element to it. And so Senator Fessenden stands up and says, well, that can't be right because, obviously, what about the children of temporary visitors? It has this, it's another one of these statements that has this appeal to a background understanding that we all agree.
Yeah, if they're drawing a conclusion to that, it means that they obviously did not imply that every single person that was here, regardless of status, would have their kid be a citizen. I mean, very clearly, because if there wasn't a distinction that was implied, they wouldn't need to have made it in the first place.
The temporary visitors, their children do not become citizens. And then Senator Wade has to kind of backtrack and say, well, what are the children of ambassadors? And in the end, Congress does not adopt Senator Wade's proposal. So we think that to the extent you can draw an inference from that, the inference strongly supports.
All right, well, let me just ask you about why we wouldn't see in the 14th Amendment anything about parental allegiance. Several of my colleagues have talked about the fact that your view of this turns on what the status of the parents are.
Well, we don't have computers in the First Amendment.
And not the child, as would the born in the United States view of it. Can you help us understand why we wouldn't expect to see a mention of parents in the text of this amendment?
I think it was well understood that, for example, children cannot, newborns cannot form domicile. So it follows every 19th century.
That assumes domicile is in the test. And I'm asking you, how do we know that Congress did adopt the test that you say it adopted?
Yeah, when you're looking at 19th century conceptions of allegiance, the notion that the allegiance, again, we say domicile is instantiating the concept of allegiance for aliens as opposed to citizen. All of that, the 19th century understands the newborn's domicile, its allegiance follows the allegiance of the parents. And I point out that their theory relies on parental allegiance as well, because they recognize the exceptions for, hostile invading armies, for tribal Indians, for ambassadors. Again, the child's allegiance status, even on their view, turns on the status of the parent.
What do we do with Professor Mueller's amicus brief and the historical record and the fact that even at times in this country where we understood that the parents were declared enemies of the United States, I'm talking about World War II and Japanese internment, babies born in that circumstance were given birthright citizenship? Because
they were still citizens, obviously. How do you even ask this?
So it seems as though this concept of allegiance of the parents really wasn't driving
this is the
birthright
Supreme
citizenship,
Court.
At least at this period
Can you believe
of
this?
Our history. So are you saying this is wrong, or they shouldn't have gotten birthright citizenship?
Well, if they were domiciled here, yes, they should have. If they were temporarily present, then no. But the executive practice we can see from the 1930s.
How does the temporary presence run with your concept of allegiance? I'm not sure I understand. So can you be clear?
How does somebody not being a citizen and only being here temporarily mean that they're not allied to the United States? Is this a real question? This is crazy.
Are you saying that only people who are domiciled here, as you define it, can form the necessary loyalty to the United States?
It's not allegiance is not a question of subjective loyalty.
Okay.
It is something you owe. It's a reciprocal relationship between the citizen, whether they want it or not. They have that allegiance. And I think it's powerfully...
On the basis of what?
Domicile. I mean, that's what it says in so many words in the Venus and the Pizarro. It says, look, if you're talking about an alien, if they're just temporarily passing through, no, they don't have allegiance. But if they've made it,
especially if they've invaded the country,
permanent home, they become part of our political community, and they are analogous or akin to citizens.
All right, just quickly, because I'm mindful of the time. What do you do with Won Kim Ark's statement?
I think that we saw this part already. Yeah, it's absolutely couldn't define a woman during her confirmation. Yeah, I mean, if you can't define what a woman is, I mean, how this is the type of just insanity that people are putting up with nowadays. If you can't define what a woman is, you have no business having anything to do with writing laws.